Hi everybody. Doom Eternal is coming out imminently and I am so excited. As an artist, as a game designer, as a child born in the 1980s, it is hard to overstate just how large an impact Doom had on me as a kid. I distinctly remember to this day, maybe it was 1994, I was lying on the floor, the carpeted floor of my room, playing with the phone cord on the phone, talking to my cousin in South Dakota. And he was telling me about this new game by the guys who made Wolfenstein. Now, I loved Wolfenstein. I owned Wolfenstein because a friend of mine had burned it onto a floppy disk and given it to me for my birthday. Except in this new game, you weren't fighting Nazis. You were fighting demons. Legions of demons. Spiky demons. Spider demons. Huge floating head demons that spewed little demons out of their mouths. But to fight them, you had shotguns, chainsaws, bare knuckle fists, rocket launchers, and this one really big gun that would shoot this ball of white-green plasma out into the room, and it would expand and wave of death. Okay, I was only 11 or 12 at the time, but I knew unequivocally, as he was telling me about toxic pools of waste and flaming skulls and flickering lights, which were a new thing in video games, I knew unequivocally that this was the most metal thing I'd ever heard. And I knew that I was destined to play this game. We're going to make a painting today. To celebrate the release of Doom Eternal, which I'm so excited about, we're going to paint the Doom guy, the unnamed space marine, or the Doomslayer, as he's called in the most recent iterations of the game. But we're going to do it with a twist. You see, the Doom guy fights for humanity. He is human, supposedly, but he's also superhuman, a super weapon, more dangerous by far than anything hell can dream up. He revels in violence. Violence is his native tongue. He doesn't even need a gun. He can rip demons apart with his bare hands. It's almost as if the Demon Slayer belongs in hell. It's almost as if the Doomslayer is a demon. So that's what we're going to do. Today's twist is we're going to create the Doomslayer as a demon. I want to make this demon analogous in every way to the Doomslayer, but I don't want to merely corrupt him like the other possessed zombies and shotgun guys from the series. I want to create a purely demonic mirror image of the Doomslayer, a dark Samus, an evil twin, a reflection from hell. So how do we do that? How do we make something that is just the same and yet entirely different? To answer that, we need to take a close look at the Doomslayer and his suit and break it all down using the 5 basic questions of character design. The Doomslayer never speaks, at least not out loud, but his personality is made very clear. He lets his guns, his blade, and his raw fists do the talking for him. Even when confronted with a simple flip that switch on that console mission, the Doomslayer opts instead to kick and beat his way through demons and computers alike. The Doomslayer is, above all, brutal. The Doomslayer's appearance is almost completely defined by the suit he wears, called the Praetor suit. Being human, he is smaller than most demons, but extremely compact, armored like a knight, and sort of thick without being stout. His body type and silhouette are stocky and powerful. What is its primary reference? Now, I usually ask this question in order to identify the primary visual resources used to create a piece of art. In this case, we're looking at just the Praetor suit. Yes, I might look at some other demons as well, like the iconic Hell Knight, but our dark Doom guy will be almost completely based on the suit. Now, it's very tempting to reach for hellish colors like orange and red, but because this is the dark twin of the Doomslayer, I will be borrowing almost exclusively from that color palette. Our demon will be green, bronze, and brown, with a smattering of saturated orange. We use some dark red to describe its more organic elements, but that's pretty much it. What is special or iconic about the Doomslayer? The Hazard suit from Half-Life is iconic. There's nothing like it. Dead Space 2 has the Engineer rig, which is a one-of-a-kind design. And Doom has the Praetor suit. It's changed quite a bit over the years. It lost that highly inadvisable bare midriff, for instance, and yet it's still completely recognizable. So what are its iconic features? Well, the green color matters, I think, and yet the most recognizable element is the helmet and the visor. We're going to have to figure out a way to make the demon's head look like the Doomslayer's helmet, complete with a visor. I've got some ideas. Some last few parallels to consider. The Praetor suit has one arm that is more armored than the other, and it's got a blade coming out like that. So our suit will have something similar. The Praetor suit also has a gun coming out the back, so we'll give our guy the demon equivalent. Tentacle, an arm, something like that. And lastly, the Praetor suit has spiked gauntlets for ripping and tearing and pulling apart. So we'll give our guy something similar. Enough sketching. I found the silhouette that I like. This pose feels heavy and yet dynamic, and the way he's walking towards us reminds me of the old sprites from the original Doom. Yes, the nostalgia is strong with this one, and I'm ready to proceed. The original Doom literally changed the direction of my life. If it weren't for Doom, I probably wouldn't have become a character artist, and all those creatures in Skyrim and Fallout would either not have been made from some weird butterfly effect, or would be made by someone else to look very, very different. My mother at the time must have sensed that something was up. She knew that video games were addictive, and never once in my entire life was I ever able to convince her to buy me a video game system. And yet, my enthusiasm for this game, Doom, seemed different, somehow, and irrepressible. And we did already have a computer. I begged and I pleaded, and finally she said yes, and we drove to the computer store, Egghead, bought Doom 2, which I didn't even know was out, and brought it home. I was so excited, but when I tried to play it, I realized that my computer couldn't run the game. It wasn't advanced enough. The game needed 4 megabytes of RAM in order to run, and I only had 2. But 2 weeks later, I had upgraded my first computer. I booted up the game, and I fell in love. I played that game for years, and then when Doom gave way to Quake, and Quake gave way to Half-Life, I kept going back in my mind. I distinctly remember in high school sitting there while the teacher was talking about Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke who started World War II by getting assassinated. And I'm there in the back, drawing demons in the back of my notebook, reinventing the old classic. I wanted to remake the game. I wanted so much in my heart for id Software to just wait for me to graduate high school, and then maybe college, and then we could be together, me and id Software, and we could finally do it. We could remake Doom together. We didn't quite make it. Doom 3 came out my senior year of college. I bought it right away, day one, came home, installed it, played it, really enjoyed it. But something didn't quite stick. Do you want to know something that sets Half-Life apart from any other game? It's an action game for nerds. The term Half-Life refers to the rate at which material decays by half. The symbol, the lambda, is a Greek letter as well as a subatomic particle. Our hero, Gordon Freeman, is a 5'11", 145-pound, redhead guy with a goatee, very cool Gordon, and glasses. He is a theoretical physics enthusiast and a research associate turned action hero. Everything about Half-Life is designed to appeal to the fun and geeky sci-fi lover in us all. No matter where each Half-Life game takes place, Half-Life knows itself, and it keeps these elements as a core foundation of its game. But whether they meant for it to be or not, Doom 3 was a reinvention of sorts. In striving for realism, the developers replaced the high-speed action game with a survival horror game of darkness and flashlights and lonely survival. It was quite a decent game, and if it had been called something different and made by a different company, it might have gone down in the history books as a great game and spawned a franchise of its own. But by calling itself Doom, it set itself up for failure. You could say that it doomed itself. Doom 3 forgot the elements that made it great. But the new Doom, the 2016 Doom, that Doom remembered. The developers remembered that vibrant color palettes are attractive, and that being able to see is important for gameplay. They remembered that the original demons, with their colorful patterns and grinning mouths, have over the years become celebrities, horrible in the best possible way, and absolutely brimming with vile charisma. Which is why Doom Eternal is bringing back the Arachnotrons and Archviles, and my all-time favorite, the Cyber Demon. They remembered that speed and power and kinetics were the primary drivers of the original, that it feels good to sprint through environments at 60 miles per hour and turn on a dime. They remembered that Doom is, above all, a power trip, a fast-paced, heart-pounding, demon-slaying free-for-all. The new Wolfenstein remembers this too. They reminded us that killing Nazis should be fun. But Nazis, unlike demons, are real, and so was World War II. So even in the midst of all the carnage, we are made to witness and recognize the horrors of the Nazi regime and to become well acquainted with our hero, the Polish-American Nazi killer B.J. Blazkowicz, who is, despite his more violent tendencies, a lover of people, freedom, the world, and apple pie. But the Doomslayer, you, doesn't need anyone's sympathy. The scientists who awakened him in 2016 were baffled. Where did you come from? No one knew. How are you still alive after all this time? I don't know, magic. What was your name? You don't have a name. What was your backstory? You killed demons. You're back now. The demons are back now. You've got a sword on one hand and a shotgun on the other. You can run 60 miles per hour, and you've got a really cool helmet that prevents all the blood from getting in your eyes. You're the Doomslayer, and you were born to slay. But every hero needs a villain, and some of the best villains are mirror images of the hero, and so here we've given the Doomslayer something resembling an equal. He's got a similar build, and is shaped the same way, and his natural plating looks a bit like an organic suit. He wields a shotgun, like the Doomslayer, and his free hand looks ready to tear the puny humans to bits. He is my answer to the Doom guy. I asked my Twitter audience for a name, and we've settled on the Doombringer. Who knows? Maybe we'll see something like him in some future game. And wouldn't that be fun? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for coming. I had a great time turning the Doomslayer into the Doombringer, and I really hope you did too. If you're a Doom fan like me, leave a comment in the below section. Tell me what your favorite game was. Or if you're a fan of art and you want to see more of it by me, yours truly, leave a comment below. Tell me what you want to see. Game art, fantasy art, fan art, movie art, whatever. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. Shout me out. I promise I'll say hi. No matter what you do, though, no matter what, hit subscribe. Ring the bell. Do not miss another video. I've got some great stuff coming. My next video is on aliens. I'm super excited. So I want you with me. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.